Hello everyone, welcome to our fourth installment of Thursday Tidbits. Coming to you live again today. I'm a little more casual than usual today. Taking the week off because I've got some family in town. So with that, before I even get into today's tidbit, I want to introduce you to my sister Bethany. Say hello.
Hello.
This is my sister Bethany. I wanted to introduce you to her. First of all, she's going to be my videographer today, so that I'm not doing everything by myself, holding my phone with one hand and playing with the other. And then also wanted to introduce you to her because she and her friend, Sophia, have started basically started a business of handcrafted home decor. And so they sell that online. So I'm going to be posting, if you want handcrafted home decor of pretty much any kind that is good quality work made by good, God-fearing Christian people and especially people that I know and trust, then I would encourage you to check them out. So in the comment section, if you're watching on Facebook, in the comment section, I'm going to post the links to, they have a Facebook page, they have a blog, they have an Instagram and Pinterest account. So I'm going to post all of those links in the comment section on Facebook, and then I'll also be uploading this to YouTube later. So if you're watching on YouTube, those links will be in the description. But it is called Board and Brush. Board and Brush is the name of their home decor business. That is Bethany, my sister, and she is one of the ones that does the decor and that sells the products. So check them out. I know you're going to like what you see. All right, let's get to today's tidbit. So before I hand things over to Bethany here, let me kind of explain the background on what I'm explaining today. So today I wanted to go into something a little bit more technical, a little bit more instructional, something that's helped me a lot just as a pianist myself. So I kind of gave a little bit of a teaser about it earlier today, but many of you, maybe like myself, struggle with any section of your piano playing that involves fast finger work. So a lot of times, especially in the right hand, but sometimes in the left, you'll have sections where you have to do a lot of really fast, crazy stuff that involves a lot of really technical finger work. And if you're like me, you would often run into the problem where you would practice it, you'd start slow, and you'd try to increase speed until you were playing at tempo, but you would find that once you hit a certain tempo, a certain speed, you just couldn't get any farther. You just kind of plateaued. You could not get any faster. You got stuck, and it was just frustrating because you'd practice and practice, and you'd make lots of progress, but then once you got to a certain speed, you just couldn't go any faster. You never could quite get it up to tempo. And then whenever you played it to perform, you were always wondering, is that section going to come out right? Am I going to flub it? Am I going to be flustered? So how do you practice sections that involve fast-moving finger work so that you don't hit those speed walls, or so that you don't hit that plateau where you just cannot go any faster? I'm going to be explaining the practice techniques involved in that today, and I will go ahead and tell you right up front that everything that I'm explaining to you today pretty much is repackaged from a book that I read and that I'm going to encourage you to read. If you're serious about improving at the piano, I would recommend that you read the book Fundamentals of Piano Practice, written by Chuan C. Chang. That's kind of a fun, maybe a different sounding name, but Chuan C. Chang, Fundamentals of Piano Practice. I'm going to recommend that you read that book. It completely changed the way that I look at the piano and that I look at piano practice. And it deals specifically with the problem that we're going to be talking about today, along with a lot more. What's more, I think you can find the PDF and download it for free online at a couple different places, and I will try to post the link to that in the comment section, or if you're watching on YouTube, I will post that in the description as well, because he explains a lot of it, and he explains it a lot better even than I can explain it. But I'm going to try to help you a little bit today, at least with the fast-moving finger stuff. All right, so I'm going to hand things off to Bethany, and she's going to start recording so I can have both hands free to play here. All right. So we're going to just take as an example today a trill. So let's just say you're trying to do a trill on C and D, so something like that. If a lot of times if you try to prolong that for a long period of time, it gets kind of gallopy, it gets kind of clunky, you get sore, and you slow down, or you hit a certain speed where you just cannot go any faster. There's any number of runs that I could have come up with, scales or whatever, but we're going to go with the trill today because that's one that causes a lot of problems for a lot of people, and myself included. So I want to show you the techniques on how you practice that. So let me start from the beginning by saying that basically everything that you thought you knew about piano practice is most likely wrong. And that's something that if you read the Fundamentals of Piano Practice book that you're going to discover really quickly. Whatever it is that you just intuitively think, oh, I'll just practice this way because this just makes sense, is probably wrong. The piano is a very specific skill, and it takes very specific practice techniques in order to gain that skill, just like anything else. So if you go about just trying to guess, you might, as far as guessing how you're going to practice and just trying to make up your own practices and exercises, you might stumble on some that work, but most likely you may end up doing some damage more than anything. And that's what happens if you do the intuitive method. So most likely if you're trying to learn something like that before, your method, my method would have been before, to start slow, something like that, and then just gradually try to increase my tempo, maybe use a metronome and just gradually try to increase my tempo, all right? That is wrong. That is the wrong way to practice that. And I'll explain why right now. So the problem with that method is that when you're playing like this, you're using what the author of the book calls slow muscles. You're playing slow. Anytime you play slow, you're going to be using different kind of muscles. But when you play fast, you need to be using fast muscles. It's a different muscles, different positions in the body. I like to think of it as this analogy. If you are trying to practice to learn how to sprint, like for a 100-meter dash or something like that, a sprinting race, if you're trying to practice sprinting, you're not going to practice by starting walking and then gradually walking faster and faster until you're speed walking. Power walking or speed walking and sprinting are obviously completely different positions, different muscles, different body positions. It's totally different. And if you try to walk at sprinting speed, you're going to get really frustrated. It's going to start burning. You might trip and fall. That's because you're trying to use your walking muscles to sprint. It doesn't work. Same thing for piano. You're trying to use your slow walking muscles, so to speak, to do this. And if you try to get faster and faster and faster, I'm going to start feeling burning in here. My fingers are going to start locking up. It's no good. So what you need to learn to do is you need to learn how to tap into those fast muscles and actually develop them. If you haven't practiced a lot of fast-moving sections like that, you may not have even developed some of those yet. And it takes some time to develop them, but in order to do that, you have to tell your nervous system to develop those muscles. And the way to do that is by following the exercises I'm going to give you. So basically, you don't want to start slow and gradually increase tempo until you hit the tempo. Because with some sections, as you may have already discovered, you're never going to hit the tempo. You're going to hit a certain speed, and then you're going to freeze up. You can't go any faster. That's what the author of the book, Fundamentals of Piano Practice, calls a speed wall. You hit that wall, and you cannot go any faster. So, how do you avoid that? How do you get past the wall? Well, the way to do that is actually to start on the other side of the wall. Instead of starting slow and gradually ramping up your speed, you want to start infinitely fast and slowly or gradually. You'll notice that those notes start sounding closer and closer together. Now they're sounding like one right after another, really rapid fire, boom, 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 boom. So let's just do a little thought exercise here. If we were to increase our tempo to infinity, how close together would they be sounding? So let's say right now they're this far apart, if we just want to picture it visually. You're hitting the C and then you're hitting the D. C, D, C, D. And then gradually that time between the times that you're hitting them is getting closer together. So, theoretically, if we played them infinitely fast, we'd be playing them so fast, we'd be playing them at the same time. Like so. That might sound really hokey and stupid, like, oh, okay, I get it. Infinitely fast, you're playing at the same time. That's cheating, that's easy. It's actually not cheating, it's a concept that you really need to master if you want to learn how to play fast. You start by playing infinitely fast, so fast that you're playing them both at the same time. So whatever fingerwork section it is that you're trying to learn, you break it down into sections of notes that you can play at the same time. So let's say I'm trying to learn this. I'll start by playing them all at the same time, like this. Let's say I'm trying to learn something like that, all right? I've got this. Okay, anytime you repeat a note, obviously I can't play that again. So if I want to break that down, my first group of notes would be that. That's the first thing that I'm doing. Then I'm coming back and repeating the C, so I can't really hit the C twice at one time. So, CE would be the first step of that. So this is the first step, so I'm going to start practicing by doing this. If I'm trying to learn this, I'm going to practice by doing this. I might even break it down further by just doing the first two notes first. If I'm trying to learn a trill, I'm going to practice it by just playing those notes simultaneously at the same time first. And then, from there, you gradually decrease your speed from infinite, okay? So what do I do next? Well, when you're coming down to play the notes, instead of hitting them at the same time, if you kind of angle your fingers so that one hits the keys first, now I'm not hitting them quite at the same time, but still really close to the same time. And then all you do from there is you gradually you slow it down even more from there until you get it down to the tempo that you want to get it to. The important thing with this is, here's what this brings out. When you're playing simultaneously, this is all hand motion. Right now what I'm doing, this is all hand and arm motion. My fingers aren't doing anything right now. It's almost like they're locked together. They're just doing this. And then when I start gradually spacing them out a little bit more, now my fingers are doing a little bit more work, but my hand is still doing some of the work. I'm still doing a little bit of this, maybe rocking the hand a little bit. The key to playing fast is finding the right balance between hand and arm motion and finger motion. The problem is when you're playing slow, you can do everything with your fingers. When I'm doing that, I can do that. I'm doing this motion with my fingers, basically. That's not a problem at slow tempo, but when I try to do that fast, it hurts really, really fast. It starts to hurt your forearm. That's because I'm trying to do everything with my fingers. When I could just use my hand, see that rolling motion there? My hand could cover a lot of that. The fingers are still going to do some work. You're not just going to let your fingers just flop around. They're still doing a little bit of work, but there's a balance between the hand and the fingers that will never be unlocked if you do everything with finger and then you gradually increase. It's like trying to walk at sprinting speed. You just can't do it. You can't do everything with the fingers at fast tempo. You need to involve some hand and some arm motion. And that's the key. Doing this is all hand motion, and then you're going to gradually kind of slowly work in a little bit of finger motion between the two. You can start with a C, you can start with a D. And basically the idea is you're going to just do repetitions of that. So the book Fundamentals of Piano Practice recommends groups of 4. He calls them quads. 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. 1, 2, 3, 4, out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to lift my hand. I'm going to drop my hand in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to raise my hand. Just like I would at the end of a phrase, how you might raise your wrist. It's going to be the same thing. Drop in, 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 1, 2, 3, 4, out. And then I start doing the same thing by splitting them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm gradually going to 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gradually going to do it slower and slower until I get a nice, comfortable trill that's got some hand motion, some finger motion. That is the key to overcoming a speed wall for any section. So, like I said, with a section like this, if you're trying to lock your wrist in place and play it all with the fingers, when you try to get super, super fast, it gets painful, it gets annoying, and it sounds really bad because you're going to miss notes. Your articulation and touch is going to be all over the place. But if you start infinitely fast, playing it all at the same time, and then gradually slow down by just rolling the hand like this. I'm not even doing much with my fingers right now, I'm just rolling the hand. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 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 And then gradually from there, 1, 2, 3, 4, out. 1, 2, 3, 4, out. Notice how there's still some wrist movement, still some hand movement, but my fingers are also doing a little bit of this spidery-like movement here. The fingers and hand and wrist are working together, and that's what you need to play fast. If you try to rely on your fingers to do all the work for fast tempo playing, like I said, it's like trying to power walk during a sprint. It's not going to work. And what's more, you could cause damage because you're going to get really, really sore here in the wrist. It's almost like your wrists are going to be screaming, please use me. You need to use me too, when you try to do everything with your fingers. So it's finding that balance. Eventually you'll get to where you're able to play as many times in a row as you want to without getting tired, without getting exhausted. You'll be able to keep things running and you won't have any exhaustion. That takes some time because, like I said, when you're doing that kind of practice, you're developing those fast muscles. Figuring out how much of the work the fingers have to do takes those fast muscles. In order for the fingers to do anything at all, they've got to have those fast muscles. And when you don't have those, you're going to get worn out a little bit. So my recommendation when you're practicing like this, do that for a while, and then when you start to get a little tired, a little exhausted, feeling a little sore, switch and practice something with your left hand for a while. Maybe there's a fast-moving section with your left hand that you want to practice. Do the same thing. And then when that gets tired, move back to the right. Switch back and forth between the right and the left. Again, all of this is mentioned in that piano practice, Fundamentals of Piano Practice book, and so much more. But this is just covering one specific topic. So back and forth between the right hand and the left. If you feel like it's time to call it a day, you're just exhausted, you can't go any further, then just sleep on it. Our bodies can actually develop muscles, and we can grow those muscle cells even while we sleep, literally while we sleep. So you get a good practice session in. It's not like you're going to expect to be perfect at that trill by the end of one practice session. And if you haven't done a lot of that trilling before with good technique, it's probably going to take maybe several weeks to get it really down. So in the meantime, just get some good timing, get some good reps or repetitions in on those, on your starting fast and gradually slowing down, and then move on to something else, or call it a day, sleep on it, come back the next day, and you'll often be surprised at how much more agile your fingers are the next day after you've had a chance to sleep. Your body has had a chance to try to grow and develop those cells that it needs. All right? So that's basically the technique today. That's how you do fast tempo piano practice. I hope it was a help to you. Like I said, I'm going to put the link. Let me take the phone back here. So I'm going to put the link in the comments for the Fundamentals of Piano Practice book by Chuan-Tze Chang, the PDF download, which is free. And then I'm also going to include all the links to Bethany, my sister's board and brush. So again, if you're interested in home decor that's handcrafted, that's high quality, that's a reasonable price, made by Christian people, then check out her blog, check out the Facebook page, Pinterest. I'm going to link all of that in the comments, or if you watch later on YouTube, I'm going to link all of that on the description in the YouTube page. So I'm going to close out today, as I usually do, by playing a verse and chorus of something. And some of you may be aware that I had you all request what song I was going to arrange for Monday, and so I did. I had about, I think, 38 different requests, and so used a website that pops up I assigned a number to each of them, and popped up a random number between 1 and 38, and the winner was A Shelter in the Time of Storm, which was submitted by Cassie Harold, which is one of my students who I think is watching right now. So thank you, Cassie, for the idea, A Shelter in the Time of Storm. And so I'm going to be arranging that for this Monday. I've actually already started working on the arrangement. Not finished with it, but I've got enough to play you a verse and chorus. It may be a little rough, a little rusty, but I'm going to play a verse and chorus to show you that I'm doing my part to work on my arrangement for Monday. Hope you enjoy it. I will see you next Thursday for our next Thursday tidbit. All right, here is A Shelter in the Time of Storm. I'm going to hand things back to Bethany so she can video this. Here we go. All right, well, that's what I've got so far. We'll play the finished product for you on Monday, so stay tuned for that. Hope you enjoyed today's tidbit. I'll be posting Saturday with another Church Piano Helps issue on the blog, so check for that. I'll be posting that on Facebook as well. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy. Feel free to like the page. Feel free to share with others, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks.